Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Crimi-Trent, and today we're working on this very easy, simple mountain winter watercolor painting. I know this may seem intimidating for some people, but let me tell you, I break it down. It's so easy. I know you can do it. I mean, the last one I did, the winter watercolor with just the trees and the gouache snow, I saw so many amazing renditions of it on my Instagram, so I know you guys can do it. I go over this step by step. It's pretty simple. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'll try and answer them as soon as I can. Also, don't forget to check out my Patreon. The link is in the description box and my About page. Every Thursday, I have exclusive tutorials and traceables that go with it. And on Patreon, I have traceables that go with my YouTube tutorials. Not every single YouTube tutorial has a traceable. Like this one's not going to have one. Because really just basic, mountains and then just flushing color in. There's no need for a traceable. So again, any questions, leave in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorial's up. So let's get started. All right, guys, we're just going to go over supplies for now. I have a piece of Arches 100% cotton cold pressed paper. It's basically a 6x9. I have a bunch of brushes. I always put them in the description box. And people are like, where is the description box? You click the words, show more. You hit, there's a little teeny arrow underneath that, and you hit that, and the whole box drops down with all the information that's my supplies, where to find them, blah blah blah. I'm using some of that tray that I had before. I have paper towel, some water, and I just sketched out loosely like where I want my mountains to be. And you really don't need me to give you a sketch of mountains, but since I want to make this really easy, people, you're just basically gonna go like little bumpy mountains. Maybe a couple of big ones up in here, and then a small one here. And then from here, we're going to have like the shadow of the mountain on this side, and then have a little bit of the shadow coming here, and a little bit of shadow in here. And then I'm going to make the hill kind of coming, just going all the way down here, and then another one crossing here. So, and then this is the paper. Something like that. Just play around with mountain size. Maybe you want a bigger one, smaller ones, but it's basically a little hill here, another hill here, and then we're just going to do these little bumps and mountains, and then here we're going to have like shading with color. So we're going to have fun with the top half, and this is going to be a simple tutorial. This is not mind-blowing. So basically, from where the edge of the mountains are and upward, we're going to put in some water right now, just plain old water. And over here I've mixed in all these other color paints. So if you have like a Prussian blue, some black, some magenta, this is all the colors that I have in this tray. So have them handy, ready to go, because we're going to do wet on wet. And so I have like the peacock, the Prussian, some black, some magenta, and I'm going to play around with just filling in color, So first we're going to get the top half wet. I'm just going to grab a big brush. I have this Princeton number 12. So basically you're painting the paper with water wherever from the mountain upward, not touching the mountain. Trying to go next to your drawing as much as possible. I don't know how to get that in there. And filling in the rest all with water. I'm going to have to tilt my paper, obviously, to see if I got all the water in there. And just look and see if there's a sheen. There's a slight color on my brush already, which is not great. Okay, so I'm tilting my paper. Oh, and I also taped this onto a cardboard piece, so it's nice and flat. Because I'm going to be tilting this paper and moving it around like I did with the other ones. So we've got this damp, nice and wet. And now we're going to just wash in some color. And don't have to follow the same blues. You can make them darker, you can make them lighter. So I have this peacock blue and Prussian blue, a little bit of black. Play around with it, a little magenta will make it a little more ultramarine kind of color. And you're going to just kind of throw in the color next to the mountains and let it bleed out. And you can kind of throw it across at the same time. I'm going to just put in some darker tones, much darker tones. You don't have to do the darker tones. You can make it really light. And throwing some color up in here. Gonna add a little this magenta. You can make it colorful. You can make it with reds and yellows and oranges, like a sunset. I'm just gonna move this color around. It should bleed. And again, I'm gonna go back in here, fill in with some deeper, darker color. I have a Prussian blue, a little bit of black. I can throw in some magenta again. Get a little purple there. I want to get pretty close to the edge there, so I'm going to grab my Princeton 8 long round brush and just move this paint right next to the mountains. And then you can just kind of fill in the bleed in there. Again, just going to grab some more paint. I want it much darker right next to the mountains. You can keep going and adding more paint. I'm adding some blue and some magenta, a little bit of black. And I want the sky, grabbing my bigger brush again, going back with the color across and across here. I want to have like a stormy kind of looking sky a little bit. Kind of like this mysterious sky. If you feel like it's going to dry a little bit lighter, you can just kind of lift up paint with your brush. So you put your brush down and you just go like that, and you're soaking up paint. If you feel it got too dark, just go like that. You're just kind of lifting it up. You can also play around with just lifting up the board and tilting it, and so the paint bleeds downward. That's always kind of fun. I want you guys to play, play, play. Don't get so serious. Move things around. While it's puddling against the tape, we just kind of lift it up with the paper towel. Lift up all the excess paint. But basically just painting that whole area. You're not going to touch the mountains. So then you can see the white mountains. And you can add some darker color, lighter color, you know, depending on, I can add some more magenta. I think I might add some more magenta. I just want to change it up a bit. So it's a little purpley, but that's okay. I kind of like that. I got the peacock in here. So it gives us this nice range of tones. It might, like I said, it might be still dark for you, but I kind of like it. You can still kind of lift up some color either with your brush or take the paper towel and just kind of run real quick. You want to lift up some color. Kind of has this like glowy kind of look. Still leaving the paint next to the mountain. Paper towels are great. You can make all this texture with it. You know, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, you play around with it. You can go back in again with your brush. You can lift up some more color. And then if you want more color, put back in. Just be careful not to overwork it too much. I might want to put some more color back in, some brighter blue. Just playing around. The whole point is to have some fun. Don't get so serious about it. That's why I say it's easy. So you're going to let that whole area dry. You can kind of work next to your mountains at this point. And we're going to add in just a light color. It could be grayish green, it could be bluish, it could be purplish. It doesn't have to be the same colors that I'm using. Sorry, my tin is in the way. But you do want to kind of want it lighter. So I have this bluish green color. You kind of want to keep the color tones to this. Got a little, excuse me, I'm mumbling here, but I'm noticing that purple is starting to have a hard edge, and I don't want that, so I'm going to just lift it up with some water and blend it. It's a little trick to get rid of that hard edge. So I'm gonna kind of put the tone of the shading of the mountain in kind of like an ultramarine, pale bluish purple kind of tone, which is right here. Because this whole palette's like a mess, but I love it. Get it fairly light, and how I can control this is I dab it on my paper towel if it's too much water, and I'll just kind of like, we drew that little squiggly line. We're going to put this light color in on the edge. I'm going to fill it in here, still leaving a white next to the paint we just put down. And it's coming down the mountain, so we're going to get a little bit darker. Coming down. See, I'm just wiggling the paint down, but still having a little line going down here. Just down here. And it gets a little faded. It goes down to the bottom here. You know, because the mountains have those little creases, so and edges, you kind of go down like that. But it doesn't have to be this purpley color. I just kind of like it. I can do little ones out in here, little caps, shadows. That's a lot of water, but you can just play around with adding some shadows to your mountains. And then on the side here, so you're getting these little shadows with the peaks. And then back down in here. And again, like I said, a little bit darker where you're coming down the side of the mountain on this edge here. Just going to fill it in a little more. See, I'm just wiggling the brush back and forth. But you see how it came down, like this little wiggle coming down? And then just up in these parts, we're just going to do a couple little, just little peaks. Just going to take a little brush. I'm going to just make these little marks next to these little mountain tops. And then pretty much that looks like a nice white snowy mountain. You don't want to overdo it. You can bring it down a little more in here in the crevice. Adding a little deeper color if you wanted to. A little jagged edge. And like I said before, it doesn't have to be this color tone. It could be in the greens or blues, you know. But pretty much that's it. I'm going to add a little couple more crevices coming down. Trying to keep this simple. The crevices will be darker. So I'm adding just a little bit of darker tone of that purpley blue. Just like that. And you could do the same thing over here. And a little bit over here. And here. Don't fuss with it too much. Just keep mostly white. Now we're going to concentrate on this part. I like to do those balloon kind of abstract trees. You know, it's kind of fun. So, get a clean brush. Sorry, I'm missing my water jars here. This is still a little damp, but it will work in our favor. So I'm going to put some water, just plain water, kind of going up over here on top of this whole section that I just like, see how much I did? Just the brush itself, just the body of the brush. And I'm going to grab some of this deep green that I made. I made a mixed olive with some Prussian blue, just a teeny bit of black. And we're just going to take it, see how it's creamy but not too wet. And we're going to tap it and see how it goes. What? Turns into a tree. That's all you do. I mean, it's that simple, guys. It's like an instant tree. See that? I'm going to zoom in. Tapping. And you have the instant tree. Those little evergreens. Just the tip of your brush. We just created a bunch of trees. We're just amazing, right? Just tapping in. Go up top a little more and get some taller trees. See, and you can just take a little tip and go up where it didn't hit with the water and blue out like that. And you get this nice treetop. And another one here. Isn't that fun? I know they look like a bunch of trees, like ducks in a row, but we're just going to do that. Get a little teeny smaller down here. We're going to be putting another bigger one in front of it, and we're going to play around with some more over here. But wasn't that so easy? And you can take a deeper, darker color, go even darker in the bottom here. But that was like the easiest set of trees you could make. Just like that, play around with that. And we've got our trees. I'm putting in just some, this is wet on dry on the end there. And they can get a little taller on the side over here. So if we want to go up, see, I'm just painting a line down and just go wiggle, 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 painting these trees in. And those would be a little bit more darker and serious than the other ones that we just did. But that was so easy, right? So now clean up our brush, kind of do it again over this side. Just taking the Princeton 8, you can just put water from this little edge of the mountain going downward here. Okay. And then you take your green again. You can maybe make it a little bit different tone of green. I'm making a little bit more olivey in there. And again, just tap it. And you're getting your evergreens. See, I did like a line down and made it bigger on the bottom. It's just that simple. And I got some evergreens. Look at that. It's so much fun to watch the little paint splatter out like a perfect little tree. I don't know why that gives me such joy, but it does. And, you know, the little things. So we have this tree line going down here. Now we're going to clean off our brush. We're going to add some more purpley shadows of snow. So you take your purple or bluish color again and try not to hit the white part next to the tree. I'm just going to add some shadowing right in here. Just really simply like that. Giving a little definition of the snow part out here. Because you want to be able to see the difference between this mound and that mound. We will be putting in another tree. You will notice the cutoff of the tree bleeding would be where you put the water. So if you want to manipulate the tree just a little bit going on top, you can just do that. You can go back in and add some color on top, just in the tippy tops. Just really simply. And you can add some darker tones kind of in the bottom. Like that. So now we're going to have to well, this is still damp. It's not that bad. We can go and paint a bigger tree. Now remember the winter, I just did a winter very easy tutorial. Similar. We're going to take our dark green or many dark color greens that we have. See, I'm all mixed up here. Just mixing it all together. We're going to make some simple evergreen trees. So we're going to just take up the tip of this brush. I'm going to pull it down, right? And we're just going to do some simple little evergreens. Just going to go like this. Obviously, you're going to be making them bigger on the bottom. See how I just make the line? You can just, if you want to do that first, make the little lines going across, do that. And then from there, you just take your brush and you're just making these little marks just like this. And don't get worried about if they don't look good enough, perfect enough. We're just going to push this paint around See, I'm just pushing the paint around with the tip of my brush, but keeping it in that triangle shape. But we're going to go back in and add snow to it, because that's what we're going to do. So just pushing the paint around. The lone tree. He might look a little lonely there by himself, doesn't he? We need to have a little friend. Nobody wants to be alone, so let's give him a friend. And maybe put the friend back a little bit more. The evergreen friend. When you're thinking of composition, think about those things. If you want to highlight just a big old tree, then you could do that too. But I'm decided to give this guy a friend. So you got a couple of trees right there with the mountains. And then I was going to do, let's see if it's still wet. I'm tapping this just to check. I was thinking about doing some birch trees and some twigs, but I think the birch trees are going to be kind of difficult at this point, and I want to make this really easy. So we're going to add another evergreen over here. It's damp, but it's not going to bleed, so again, line down. We're going to put that evergreen. So we got like 3 of these kind of trees. See how just sporadically, just moving this paint around. It's not perfect by any means, but you get the idea that it's an evergreen tree. And it's in front of all those other trees. I'm adding in some Prussian blue, make it a little darker. Do not go over this line, because he's supposed to be in the back. And again, I'm going to go add some more of this blue in here too. It's deep blue. Really simple. At this point, you can take your brush and you can add in some branches. I'm taking my, actually I'm taking number 4 brush, the 4 Princeton long round. I'm going to grab some vandyke brown right here. I've been using it so much that it's practically a mess. Pay no attention to how I keep my tubes. You're probably a cleaner person, but I'm one of those artists that's kind of a messy artist. Sorry. That's kind of how I roll. So I'm going to grab the vandyke brown, mix a little blue with that. Maybe a little black. I don't like to keep it just one solid color. And a very small skinny brush like this number 4. And then you can just put in some little twiggy branches, just peeking through the snow. Put some more down the front. Just peeking through. Sporadically here and there. If you wanted to add a twiggy tree, you know, you could easily add a twig tree, kind of like over in here. Just add a nice little twiggy tree. It just changes the composition a little more. And just evergreens, you know, all in the whole entire picture. And the twiggy tree, we can put some shadows next to the trees and the evergreens. I like to change it up. Maybe put it like another one over in here, or a smaller one back here. We're just going to have fun with this. Put in little twiggy trees. You can put teeny little white ones next to the evergreens. But I'm trying to keep it simple. Really simple, easy mountain type painting. Again, little twiggy thing down here. Just do the branches. I could paint little twiggy trees all day long. They're just so much fun and actually very therapeutic. So we're just doing those simple trees. And then by now the colors should all pretty much dried. We can go back in and take that purple ultramarine kind of tone and start working on some shadows next to the twiggy trees. See? Just pulling them down. It doesn't have to be blue, but I like the blue tone. And then imagine there's something over here and there's making a shadow going down. Just like that. Just picture the shadows. Don't go too crazy. But it's fun to paint the shadows. So I paint the shadow from the tree here. Get a little bit darker underneath the trees. And a little more paint. Just because it would create a dark shadow. The shadows in the snow are my favorite. Obviously you keep seeing me paint them. And obviously in a mountain, so it's going down the hill. Just like that. All right, that's simple. And then we're gonna add in some snow. I don't know if I necessarily put the snow up top where the mountains are. And then where the mountain part is getting a little drier, you can go back in again and add in some deeper, darker details on the side of where it's meeting the sky. Just going in and adding a little bit darker tones in here again. Got kind of washed out. All right, so we're gonna let all this dry, or actually it's pretty much dry because this paper really soaks it up. I take this white gouache that I have, and I can start to just put it on my tree. See, good consistency. You want it loose and a little bit thick at the same time. Does that make any sense? A little bit of water, not too much water. I'm just going to add the snow to the trees. Just going up. See, I'm just moving the paintbrush around a little bit on top of the little branches. To show the snow on the tree. Now you didn't have to put the snow on the tree, but I'm putting the snow on the tree. And maybe one side could have a little bit more snow than the other because the sun has been hitting it and it's melting that side more than the other side. And also, even though it's white, once it dries, I'm going to put a little tinge of like purple on that side for the shadow. I'll show you what I mean. And you can put a little white back here on some of these. Just a teeny bit of white on the other trees that were in the background. You want to get really detailed, you can take the white gouache and you can put those little skinny trees in here in front of the evergreens. That's getting like super detailed, but again, depends on what you want to do. I like adding a couple of those. Just changes the composition a little bit. All right, even if you don't have blue, you know, with the white gouache, you can just add a little bit of the blue color you had, that bluish purple color. You can mix it with watercolor, no problem. Just a little bit. And you can put some of the blue tones on the side, on this side, the left side, the side in the shadow. And that gouache, because it would be in the shadow. So it's a little bluish purple. Grab my magenta, just on the snow, just tapping it on that side, so it looks like in the shadow. And that's it. That is the easiest, simple, snowiest mountain I can think of to show you. Again, you can just tweak it by, you know, if you want to add in snow, like I would add in just a little bit of, a teeny bit of snow. And get the small Princeton 8, not small, but a Princeton 8 long round, and just tap in a little bit of snow. Not too much. It's been snowing, you know. I like to tap it on top of another brush. So we got our snowy mountain winter scene. I'm really into these snowy winter scenes right now. I don't know why, but I think I'm gonna have to start branching out into some other elements. But this, I want to show you the mountains. It's just as easy as doing the landscapes. It's just mountains with a little side painting of a tone. And there we go. That is it. We'll lift up our tape to reveal our masterpiece. Oh, you don't want to come. You don't want to work. It doesn't want to cooperate. There we go. I'm sorry, guys. And there's our mountain. Simple mountain. Like I said, you're just doing these little jagged edges. You're going to bleed in this color up top. You're going to paint a little shadow on the sides. Not too much. Don't overdo it. Maybe more on one side, so it's like another triangle right here. And then we're just going to wash in some color and just dab in with the paintbrush. Get those little fuzzy trees. And then we're going to wiggle some trees and little stick trees. And there you go. Mountain snowy scene. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Don't forget to hit the bell notification button to know my tutorials are up. Also check out my Patreon. On Thursdays I have exclusive tutorials and traceables only for the Patreon members, middle tier and up. And although I do give the lower tier the traceable that goes with it, so if you want to just do it on your own. But I also have for everybody on Patreon traceables that go on my YouTube channel. I think I'm, you know, and then I'm losing my train of thought again. Yes, so I think that's it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Thank you guys so much. I hope you're enjoying these winter tutorials, landscapes. Landscapes are not my forte, so I'm kind of branching out on my own too. So you guys can totally do this. This is really easy. Take care, and I'll speak to you soon.